Hey, welcome to another episode of Freedom on Fire Hardcore Politics Edition. This is your boy Robert Brown, and we are in heated conflict right now. I really was praying about how to go about this show because I really got to keep my cool because I really want to cuss some of these dumb politicians out. And I'm a man that try not to use my mouth in filthy ways, So it takes a lot to control a man's tongue. Whereas a man who controls his tongue can control just about anything. And I'm trying to be that man. What just happened? WTH. What just happened? I'll tell you exactly what's happening. It's nothing new, people. This was planned. This has been planned on for over a decade. This was planned on before the Bush era. This was planned on for a long time, way back around Ronald Reagan time. That's the reason why we got involved with the Saudi, with the conflict between Afghan and Russia, because we had interests. American interests, or it's not even American interests because America wasn't even for it. We had big money interests in the region of the Middle East. So what we do, we fund so-called rebels to take out or push back our enemies so we can control that land along with the rebels. We'll finance this, we'll back them. These rebels oftentimes come to the White House and visit the president. And I'm not in a position where I can edit and chop and paste and things like that, because the Hardcore Politics edition is just me coming out of nowhere just talking. I'm not doing a regular production setup. But I can show you Al Qaeda going what was not, they were not known as Al Qaeda back then. There was so-called rebel fighters, freedom fighters against Russia. We funded them to push Russia back from taking over that territory. These guys end up ultimately being Osama bin Laden and Al Qaeda, and they are the ones who launched these two terrorist attacks to the United States. Now people say there's conspiracy in that, and it was planned by our government along with the Saudis for this happen so we can declare war on other countries to go in there and dominate and take over. And here is the blueprint for Western, and I don't like to use the word lightly, but it's mainly Western white supremacy colonization. And it's not a knock on white people in general, because there's other races that do stuff like that in territory. The Japans have been known to do that. Africans have been known to try to dominate other territory for their own interests. But the ones who have been doing the most, and this is where, what's his name, Richard, whatever his name, the alt-right guy, tried to make his statement of philosophy is that we're the ones starting these civilizations. No, you're the one taking over these civilizations that were already started and trying to steal from us, just like you did it with the Indians here in the United States. You did it with the Africans from Belgium all the way to England in Africa, and now you're trying to do it in Northern Africa in the Middle East, and you're trying to employ the United States to help you do it. And nothing's new under the sun, baby dolls. This thing's been going on for a while. The blueprint is accuse the leader of attacking his own people. We go in as freedom fighters. We'll find a few people who want to rise up against that government, and we'll fund them to push back in that government, and we'll push back even more with our artilleries to open up a vacuum for them to go in and take over, ultimately killing the dictator, removing him out of power while we put in a puppet leader so he can do our bidding and we can make a ton of money. That is the blueprint that happened in Iran, with the Shah of Iran leaving out and, things like that. That happened in Iraq with Saddam Hussein, Afghanistan. It happened in Libya. Muammar Gaddafi came here. I was here. Donald Trump offered him the opportunity to stay on his property. He decided to bring his tent and everything. I was here. This man was crying out for his life. He knew that they were trying to get rid of him after he helped them try to fight terrorism. They knew they want to get to, and guess who was at the center of that? And I know you don't like to hear it, but Barack Obama and the golden girl, Hillary Clinton. She wanted to flex her international muscles to prove that she could be just as presidential and escalate the conflict. We went from 2 wars to 3. Libya went in there, escalated that conflict, went in there with the wrong idea. Even Obama said it's a mistake. It's one of the doo-doo stains on his legacy, along with a couple of other things I'm going to talk about. And we need to stop, especially my people got this Superman image of Barack Obama that he was the perfect president, no scandals. There's many ways of having scandals. No, he didn't lay up with another woman. No, he wasn't caught smoking drugs, but he got some scandals. And the reason Republicans didn't push back on it, because in order for these scandals not to be pushed or pressed upon, all he needed was to continue to work deals with the Republicans. Just like they did Bill Clinton with the crime bill and welfare reform. The man got impeached, but they allowed him to stay in office because he worked the deal. I know you're saying, what is this stuff Robert drinking? Pink champagne? No. Bob is drinking, and now I'm not advertising. But the way YouTube is, I might have to start. But on all serious note, how long are you, not all Americans are dumb. Any American who keep believing this blueprint and keep allowing this blueprint and are being sold this bill of goods and believe this crap, I got to check your intellect. Now, I'm not the smartest man in the world. I'm probably not the smartest man in the room. But there's a difference between being smart and having wisdom. And wisdom can see things. Smart can only solve things. Wisdom has the ability to do both. And the bottom line is this. If you want to know the truth of Syria, all you have to do is ask any politician, really, why are we in Syria? Why are we bothering these people? Why are we meddling in Middle Eastern business? Why are we over there? Why are we trying to dominate? We're dropping bombs. We're killing and murdering. You talking about them people being the racists? We're the racists. Them people being terrorists? We're the terrorists. And it's sad that one of the biggest doo-doo stains of Barack Obama is that he drone strike the heck out of those areas. Killed more black and brown men than anybody in war with the drone strikes. And we talk about Assad so-called gassing 250, 2,000. Well, what we going to do? Well, first of all, you don't know that. You don't know if he did that. And this is the one thing about Obama, he was calculated about his decisions. But he wasn't sound. Calculated, but wasn't sound. I don't know what is it with this relationship we have with the Saudis, where the Saudis start pimping us out. Have us doing our bidding. This did not happen until Trump met with the Saudis. Trump was on the side of helping Russia put in Syria, put down Al-Qaeda. But no, he can't really be on that side, because the bottom line is we're funding Al-Qaeda to push back against Syria army so we can remove Assad out of office and plant in our puppet leaders so we can make money. So we can build an oil pipeline on behalf of the Arab government, on behalf of the Saudis, put a pipeline in there so we can make a bunch of money, and not Russia and Syria. And we got so much freaking oil and we got so many different resources that we don't even need that. We don't even need that. And yes, there's oil there. And yes, there's probably gold there. But that's those people money. And the people of Syria love Assad. They love him just like black people love Obama, and how millennials love Bernie Sanders. That's how much they love Assad. But we want to paint the picture just like we did in any other so-called dictator. No, these guys was elected. Their rules are different from ours. We figure if you've been elected and you've been in office for 10, 20 years, you got to be something wrong. Why? Because we don't do it like you do it? We got to be like you guys, America? We got to copy you? We got to follow you where we give a guy 4, 8 years? Nah, we don't want your democracy. We got our own country and we're fine. We voted that guy in. The people in Syria overwhelmingly love Assad. It's a few rebels that don't like Assad because they want to bring all different kind of thought processes, bring different kind of laws into that country. That country doesn't even push Sharia law. It don't push it. They have it, but they don't push it. That country is open to Christianity. That country is known throughout the Bible. It's been open to Christianity for hundreds of thousands of years. And they communicate and they commune. And much as I don't like Saddam Hussein, Iraq was the same way. Yeah, he was crazy. It was a nutso, and he probably had some people murdered. And yeah, he probably did gas the Kurds, but who said, how do we know? How do we know we didn't gas the Kurds just to come against Saddam Hussein? How do we know that we're not gassing or help aid the rebels or the terrorists? It's not rebels, they're terrorists. The same rebels that we had with the Afghan Russia conflict end up being terrorists known as Al-Qaeda. So our rebels that were supposed to be supporting to push back Assad are really terrorists and really part of ISIS and ISIL. We're funding them. And that's why people, if you go and look on YouTube, because I can't pull all these clips, I could, but like I said, this is more like a live session off the cut. If you go and YouTube Assad interview and you see the different interviews with Charlie Rose and different, he will explain to you what's going on in this country. It's white colonialism trying to push their democracy on their people, and their people are not saying, we don't want your democracy, we're fine. But no, we're going to force it and question down. That's what we like to do. We like to force things down people who don't want certain things. It's like we tried to force Hillary Clinton down majority of people when they didn't want Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. And you wonder why people vote for people like Jill Stein and Gary Johnson, because they are peace candidates. Gary Johnson said we don't need to be in there, and you poke fun because he said, what is Aleppo? Poke fun at me. I knew what Aleppo was, but I would say, why are we talking about Aleppo? We shouldn't be in Aleppo. We need to be out of Aleppo. Let them people handle their own affairs. Now here's the ticket. Assad, along with the Russians backing them up, were successful at pushing out their opposition pretty much out the country. They are on the run. They gained their territory back, and the people are happy. They can go out and live normal. They don't want the rebels, so-called rebels, or really ISIS or ISIL coming in and pushing Sharia law to the point that it's just like the Saudis pushing Wahhabism, which is one of the hardest, strictest religious sects, and where they actually will cut your head off and cut your hand off and kill their daughter and all that kind of stuff. The man was successful pushing back the terrorist group. So what is the smart thing for a terrorist group to do? Well, let's go get with our boys in Turkey, and let's get some Syria, and let's bomb the people there, and let's blame it on them. Let's blame it on Syria. That way, America is so dumb and so war hungry and so war hawkish. They're going to be appalled and outraged because of little kids that we're going to show them on the video, that they're going to make a not so calculated, dumb decision to attack them, and possibly we can get them to attack their planes. And if we can attack their planes and say their planes are carrying the gas, then we took out their military defense in the air, and now we can dominate because we are better on the ground when we have nobody airstriking us. And that's why they challenge us all the time to fight us on the ground, stop the airstrike, because they feel that they can beat us on the ground. They know they can't beat us with airstrikes. They're doing the same thing that they want to do with us as they're doing with Assad. We need somebody to put their plane down because we don't have the artillery. But I tell you who do, America. So let's just shoot 50 Tomahawk cruise missiles to the base, have the people warn them to leave the base, and shoot missiles and tear down their air defense. That way, Hillary Clinton gets what she wants, a no-fly zone. Because now they can't fly in to bomb and push these people out of their country. Their country. Excuse me. Man, this stuff is really ticking me off, man. We as America, we got to wake up. We got to push back against this thing because they're shaping this narrative and we sitting up here falling for it. Assad had nothing to do with that. I'm going to read an article, and thanks to my man Jimmy Dore, mentioned this yesterday. I was going to mention it anyway, but he beat me to it as usual. That doggone Jimmy Dore. Beat me to the article. Beat me to the article. Okay, as you know, I got to put on glasses. Now, the media want to label Seymour Hersh a nutcase, and Seymour Hersh is one of the smartest, brilliant men on this earth. And I'm going to read what Seymour Hersh said Hillary approved Libya. Seymour Hersh says Hillary approved sending Libya's serum to Syrian rebels. So in other words, we got the serum from Libya and we gave it to Syrian rebels, which are not really rebels. A lot of them are part of Al-Qaeda. I mean, a lot of them are part of ISIS. It said the great investigative journalist Seymour Hersh, in 2 previous articles in the London Review of Books, whose serum and the red line and the red line, has reported that the Obama administration falsely blamed the government of Syria, Bashar al-Assad, for the Syrian gas attack. That Obama was trying to use an excuse to invade Syria. Sound familiar, right? Hersh pointed to a report from British intelligence saying that the sarin that was used didn't come from Assad's stockpile. Hersh also said that the secret agreement in 2012 was reached between Obama administration and the leaders of Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar to set up a Syrian gas attack and blame it on Assad. Now, it's mighty funny. This thing happened after Trump meets with Saudi Arabia. Again, leaders of Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar to set up a Syrian gas attack and blame it on Assad so that the U.S. could invade and overthrow Assad. By the terms of the agreement, funding came from Turkey, as well as Saudi Arabia and Qatar. The CIA, with the support of M16, was responsible for getting arms from Gaddafi's arsenal into Syria. So we removed Gaddafi out of power, got his stockpile of weapons, whether it's biological or regular stockpile weapons. Hersh didn't say whether these arms included the precursor chemicals for making sarin, which Gaddafi arsenal which were stockpiled in Libya. But there have been multiple independent reports that Libya's Gaddafi possessed such stockpiles, and also that the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, was operating a red line for Gaddafi-captured weapons into Syria through Turkey, so Hersh isn't the only reporter who has been covering this. Indeed, the investigative journalist Christopher Lehman headlined on 7 October 2013, it said top U.S. and Saudi officials responsible for chemical weapons in Syria. You hear that? Top U.S. and Saudi officials responsible for chemical weapons in Syria, and reported on the basis of very different sources than Hersh used. That evidence leads directly to the White House. The chairman of the Joint Chief of Staff, Martin Dempsey, CIA Director John Brennan, Saudi Intelligence Chief Prince Bandar, Saudi Arabia's Interior Ministry, and as If that weren't enough, even the definite analysis of the evidence that was performed by two leading U.S. analysts, the Lloyd Postal report concluded that the U.S. government's interpretation of technical intelligence it gathered prior to and after the August 21st attack cannot possibly be corrected. Obama was clearly lying. Now, I know some of my black people were going to get upset. No, not Obama. They're all in the same game. They're all part of this thing. Please, people. I like Obama, but he was far from perfect. He was playing the same playbook. Because as president, you can't, like he said, you can't be the president of just one color. You got to be the president of every color. And as president of every color, you may have to do some things that the rest of the presidents have done. All right, let me continue to read. However, now, for the first time, Hirsch has implicated Hillary Clinton directly in this. In an interview with Alternate.org, Hirsch was asked about and then U.S. Secretary of State role in Benghazi, Libya. U.S. consular operation to collect weapons from Libyan stockpiles and send them through Turkey into Syria for a set-up sarin gas attack to blame on Assad in order to justify the U.S. invading Syria. And as the U.S. had invaded Libya to eliminate Gaddafi, Hirsch said that ambassador who was killed, he was known as a guy, from what I understand, as somebody who would not get in the way of the CIA. As I wrote, on the day of the mission, he was meeting with CIA base chief and the shipping company he was certainly involved with, aware and witting of everything that was going on. And there's no way somebody in that sensitive a position is not talking to the boss by some channel. In other words, he was saying Hillary Clinton was directly involved with this and helped sign off for the Syrian chemical weapon to head towards Syria to be used on the people to be blamed on Assad. This was, in fact, the Syrian part of the State Department Libyan operations. Obama operation to set up an excuse for the U.S. doing the Syria what they had already done in Libya. And in other words, to go back to the beginning of my playbook again. The playbook is accuse the dictator of hurting his people, shock the world and appall the world, show pictures of babies dead here and dead there, when we have pictures too from drone strikes of babies being dead here and dead there, probably more than what the Syrian attack has took out. Our people, our drones, have done more hurt than any Syrian gas attack. Saying that we signed off from the Syrian gas attack from Libya. We took it, gave it, channeled it through the Turkish government into Syria, and gave it to the rebels. And we used it on behalf of Qatar, on behalf of Turkey, on behalf of Saudi Arabia, who have big money interests in those areas. They want to control those areas for this. And we want to help them, because if we help our so-called buddies, they're going to help us. This ticks me off. And what's going to happen is we're going to send our babies to war to die. I tell my child, go to jail. Don't be fighting nobody else's war. It's an unwarranted war. It was not approved by Congress. And I had somebody say, well, if he feel the president don't need Congress to start war, yes, he does. He has to follow the law. And the law says if there is no imminent threat to the homeland, he has to go through checks and balances. He just can't declare war. Now, did he declare war? No. What he was supposed to have been doing was taking out the chemical plants and the so-called chemical planes, when actually his goal was to take out the planes that has the possibility of carrying the chemicals. See, he realized that if we could take out their planes, there's literally a no-fly zone. Any other planes flying in that area has to be from Russia. And we've been itching to get in a fight with Russia. That's why they keep playing this Russian Trump card, which Russia ain't had nothing to do with these freaking elections. The girl lost because she sucked. She sucked. That's the excuse. She sucked. She's not a good campaigner. She just sucked. She sucked. You can get mad at me all you want. I don't give a crap. She was the wrong person to run. You should have ran Bernie. She sucked at a politician. This man come from nowhere behind and almost caught up with her and beat her behind. And she was supposed to be the inevitable. And because she had this strong hold over the super delegates, Bernie didn't have a chance. Had she didn't have them locked up in some kind of scheme or scandal, that if I go down, you go down, they would have turned and went Bernie Sanders' way. Let me get back on this. In an interview they asked, in the book Hirsch, The Killing of Osama bin Laden, just out, he quoted former intelligence officers saying that the White House rejected 35 targets set for the planned U.S. invasion of Syria. 35 targets provided by the Joint Chief of Staff as being insufficiently painful to the Assad regime. You note that the original targets include military sites only, like air bases. Nothing by the way of civilian infrastructure. Later, the White House proposed a target list that includes civilian infrastructure. Then they finally put civilian infrastructure in there. What would the toll to civilians have been if the White House proposed strikes had carried out? Now, here's the dumb solution. I'm not going to go into that. It's called, you can look it up. It's called Seymour Hersh said Hillary approved sending Libya sarin to the Syrian rebels. Why? Because they use it on the people, whether it's kids. See, this is how horrible our leaders in government are, including Hillary Clinton and including Barack Obama. They want to approve the Syrian to go through Turkey into Syria and allow our so-called rebels, which are really terrorists, to bomb those people, kill the kids, kill the grandmothers, video and take pictures of it, shocking all the whole world to get them behind, get them to support them attacking Assad. Oldest oldest play in the book, and people are still falling for that dumb, ignorant, murderous playbook. And then we go and support, and politicians vote for war and things like that, and I'm showing my support, and that's what he get for messing with the kids. No, you don't understand the whole story. I'm going to read another article from Seymour. He said, "Who's Syrian?" This is the name of this article. This came out in the London Review back in December the 19th, 2013. This was way in 2013. It seemed like the same playbook. Barack Obama did not tell the whole story this autumn that he tried to make the case that Bashar al-Assad was responsible for chemical weapon attack near Damascus on August 21st. In some instances, he omitted important intelligence, and others he presented assumptions as facts. Most significant, he failed to acknowledge something known as the U.S. intelligence community, that the Syrian army is not only party in the country's civil war with access to Syrian. The nerve agent that the UN study concluded without assessing responsibility had been used in the rocket attacks. In the months before the attacks, the American Intelligence Agency produced a series of highly classified reports, culminating in a formal operation order, a planning document that precedes a ground invasion, citing evidence that al-Nusra Front, al-Nusra is a terrorist group, a jihadi group affiliated with Al-Qaeda. Now this is back in 2013. Had mastered the mechanics of creating serum and was capable of manufacturing it in quantity. When the attack occurred, al-Nusra should have been the suspect, but the administration cherry-picked intelligence to justify a strike against Assad. I need to sip this. In his nationally televised speech about Syrian on September 10th, Obama laid the blame for the nerve gas attack on the rebel-held suburb of eastern Ghouta firmly on Assad's government and made it clear that he was prepared to back up his early public warning that any use of chemical weapons would cross a line. Assad government gassed to death over thousands of people, Obama said. We know the Assad regime was responsible, which he really didn't know. And that is why, after careful deliberation, I determined that it is in the national security interest, sound like Trump, of the United States to respond to the Assad regime use of chemical weapons through a target military strike. This sounds like yesterday. Obama was going to war to back up a public threat, but he was doing so without knowing for sure who did what in the early mornings of the 21st of August. Same thing Trump is doing. He don't really know. At least Obama, remember what I said, was calculated. That was one of his strong points as president. He was calculated. So he didn't go forth in attacking or dropping bombs on the planes and things like that. But Trump, who is not calculated, he's an itchy person, trigger finger, a war hawk, a power-hungry person. He's going to do things his way, whether he get approval or not. And that's why he need to be shut down. At least Obama was calculated about it. He was wrong about who did it, but he was calculated about attacking back. He cited a list of what appeared to be hard-won evidence of Assad culpability. In the days leading up to August 21st, we know that Assad chemical weapon personnel prepared for an attack near an area where the mixed sarin gas. This is Obama still talking. They distributed the gas mask to their troops. Then they fired rockets from a regime-controlled area into 11 neighborhoods that the regime has been trying to wipe clear of opposition forces. Obama certainly was echoed at the time by Dennis McDonough, his chief of staff, who told the New York Times, "No one with whom I've spoken doubts the intelligence directly linking Assad and his regime in Syrian attack." They could say that till the cows come home. That don't mean nobody don't doubt. And just because they say that, are you going to believe that? But in recent interviews with intelligence and military officers and consultants, past and present, I found intense concern and on occasion anger over what was repeatedly seen as a deliberate manipulation of intelligence. This is the writer writing. One high-level intelligence officer in an email to a colleague called the administration's assurance of Assad responsibility a ruse. The attack was not the result of the current regime, he wrote. A former senior intelligence official told me that the Obama administration had altered the available information in terms of its timing and sequence to enable the president and his advisor to make an intelligent retrieve days after the attack looked as if it had been picked up and analyzed in real time as the attack was happening. The distortion, he said, reminded him of the 1964 Gulf of Tonkin incident when the Johnson administration reversed the sequence of the national security agent intercept to justify one of the early bombings of North Vietnam. The same official said there was immense frustration inside the military intelligence bureau. The guys are throwing their hands in the air and saying, how can we help this guy Obama, when he and his cronies in the White House make up intelligence as they go along? In other words, how are we going to keep helping this? How are we plan on helping this guy when they're making up a bunch of bull? Now, I'm not going to continue to go into this article. You go into it. But it's basically saying, don't buy it. And if you buy it, why are you buying these talking points? Why are you buying unknown source? Why are you buying intelligence says? Just because they said it. Just because it's come from an unknown source doesn't mean it's true. 9 times out of 10, it's a fabricated fat lie, and our government is trying to start war for one reason. Colonial Western takeover of black and brown land that's full of rich resources like gold, diamonds, and oil. We need to build pipelines in those areas so we can make big money. And it's all about money. I don't care how many lies I don't care how many fake, false plans of attack, how many times our government may be assisting these rebels into attacking the civilian with chemical weapons and blame it on Assad so we can go to war with Assad, take out their air defense, so now they have no way of keeping these people out of their country, which they successfully pushed out. Now we done removed their military planes. We done damaged it. Now these people can come back in and take back gain, ultimately killing Assad, taking over the government, putting in a puppet leader from the president and from our government, so our government can be the leader in crude oil instead of Russia, in that area instead of Russia. And Syria decided to make Russia their partner. Had America stopped this bull crap, we could have been their partner into these oil fields and these rich lands to do business. But no, we want to take over. Same old freaking playbook. Let's get somebody to gas their people. God forbid we do it. We don't want this blood on our hands. Well, wait a minute. You got blood on your hands, your fingernails, your eyeballs, your head, your feet, all over your body for those drone strikes. Blood is on American hands. And it's a shame we got good soldiers out there trying to provide for their family, trying to live a better life, and they're being used in pawns, all because our government want to make money. Shout out to all my soldiers out there who really trying to do their best to keep our country safe and secure and other countries safe and secure, but at the same time, they don't know it all. These politicians are behind the scenes playing puppet with our military and puppets with you and your kids that's going to go to war, because they're not going. I guarantee you, Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump, if they had a 17-year-old child, that child would not be going to the military. He'll be going to military school. Case in point, Donald Trump went to military school, never served in the military because he's a punk, can't do it. Excuse me for calling him a punk. Can't do it. And now he's commander-in-chief. And he's going to let people put words in his ears instead of making sound judgment. I thought you was a Christian and you're a praying man. Fool, don't fall for the people. People, don't fall for this mess, man. This is the oldest playbook in the book. And Toronto is trying to play it. And these Trump supporters trying to support their president. It's a dumb move. They've been doing that. They've been planning on doing that. They keep using the same playbook. Assad did not bomb his people. Why would he? Those people love him. He loves his people. Those people are not threatened by him. If you talk to anybody on the ground, and the people, the real journalists who've been on the ground, real politicians who took time out of their busy schedule to go. And what pisses me off is these people can make these decisions to back up a president to do something stupid when he has never been to freaking Syria. He don't know what's going on. He never talked to the people there. But people like Tulsi Gabbard been there. And a couple of other bold, brazen news reporters have been there to talk to the people and got a whole different story. They got the truth. And yet we're going to go ahead and go bomb chemical plants and airplanes that may carry the chemical weapons. And we thinking, and they use it as a playbook to fool you, to hoodwink you, to bamboozle you, thinking, oh, we had to do this to keep people from getting damaged. No, they did that to get rid of the air support of the Syrian rebels, of the Syrian army that pushed back the so-called Syrian rebels / Al-Qaeda / ISIS / ISIL, I'm sure, terrorists, which we're funding to try to get this man out of power so we can take over the land and the resources. It's the oldest freaking playbook in the world. And we as Americans push back. I'm going to push back. I don't know if I'm going to start rallies or what we need to do, but I got to do something. I guess this is where I do it at, but I got to do something. This is stupid. This is ignorant. And we are not to And people out there were Trump. No, Obama did it too. Bush did it too. We went from 2 wars with Bush to 4 wars with Obama to 7 before he got out of office. And now it's escalating to possibly 10. Why are we in Yemen? Why are we messing with Syria? Why are we messing with Libya? People pose no threat. Iraq never posed no threats to the United States. They want to get rid of Iran and saying they're trying to get a nuclear weapon. So we got to, it's always, we got to, let me stop. Let me calm down. I know, I call the CIA the CIA. Grimy. Our government can be grimy sometimes. I love this country. I love the people in this country. But I'm not too fond of our government leaders. They're making these calculated decisions and sometimes off-the-cuff decisions, all because they want to so-called keep their American interests in that land. It's not American interest. It's just being nosy. You realize that they got something of value and you want it. And you're willing to fake and blame fake murders, which you helped fund and initiated, and blame it on the people, on the man who worked and labored for those people there. I don't care if he's in office in 10 years. If them people want him in office in 10 years to a vote, then fine. If they want him 20 years, then fine. Their country is not America. It is not a democracy. They're more closer to a democracy because they do elect their presidents. There's no king of Syria. There's no Syrian dictator, even though you want to label him a dictator. These people vote for him. People, we got to stop playing into these fake narratives, man. Stop buying the bull. Mighty funny. If you go look at what a Syrian attack does to a person, and you look at the people on the ground that was attacked, nothing near it. None of the symptoms. Story keep changing. They say, no, they just sprayed bleach on them. So many stories have changed. And it just don't add up. I'm not falling for it. I can smell this a mile. It's totally false claim. This is all to go to war with Russia. Why? Because they look golden girl. Got their butt whooped. Russia's been trying to build a relationship with the United States. If you ever look back on Bush's and Putin's relationship, there was buds, best of buds. And he didn't want Russia to be a communist country. He made Russia a capitalist country. Not that that's all better. They have free trade there. They do a lot of stuff there. They want to be our friends. Yet we're trying to poke fun and fight these guys when we need to be fighting with them to get rid of Al-Qaeda. And let that man run this country and leave him alone. Keep your nose out of people's business, American politician, because it's you that encouraged that man to do that stuff. Shame on you. And what we going to do, go bomb them? All right, they bombed and killed some people. We're going to return the favor. We're going to one-up them. You get 10, I got 10, I carry you 20. That's what we do. You bomb them with gas? Not only am I going to bomb them with gas, I'm going to bomb their hospitals. I'm going to bomb their schools with my drones. Man, get out of here, man. Y'all think these politicians really on your side? Y'all really think Obama had your back, black people? He did nothing for us. Made me feel good that a black man was president, but didn't do nothing for the black community. And I hate seeing this. I hate saying this because I wanted him to. I campaigned for that man, blood, sweat, and tears in the hot sun of North Carolina and Virginia. Having to dodge snakes trying to put those signs in the freaking ditch. Almost broke my leg in the ditch. Go out there knocking on country doors in the hot freaking sun. grassroots guy, populist. And as time followed, he began to become more corporate-centric and started leaning and kissing the butt of the Republican Party, which he did. All in the name of they're not willing to do anything, they're blocking me. No, there's ways where you can get around that. Smarty pants like me can tell you many ways to get around, find a hole when they're trying not to let you see the hole. There's always a hole that you can get through. No, we kiss up to them. We gave them Obamacare, which is a Republican health care plan. And we're trying to fight like a dog to save that. And now we're being just as war hawk. Bush was a war hawk. Obama was just as war hawkish. And now we got Trump going to one-up both of them. Make both of them look bad. For people, we got to push back against this. Now, I'm done. Now, just to let you know, YouTube, you already know, are acting kind of funny with people who does political commentary. They're deciding not to support us with the advertisements. So a lot of us are going to Patreon or PayPal or setting up some kind of account if you decide to support. I'm not into that. I do what I do because I got some time, and I'm gonna let it out some way. Might well let it out on this microphone, this camera, with the people who I love. Comment on below on this situation too. Take time to debate. Don't call each other names because I'm gonna cut you off. Be good, kids. I'm gonna cut you off. But because I love you, I don't want you taking money out of your pocket that you need to feed your family. If you got an extra couple bucks you want to, that you know you're going to get a big gulp of 2 hot dogs with, send it to me. I'm a single man. I don't cook much. I take the $2 and let me get a big gulp of 2 hot dogs so I don't have to cook. So, anyway, I'm done. This is Robert Brown, BOBTV. Don't fall for the okie doke. It's still all around the world. It's still the same freaking song. Shout out.